Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Kickin' It with Mabel. And what is Kickin' It with Mabel? It means just that. It means sitting, relaxing, and engaging in dialogue about all different types of topics, whether it's the pandemic, whether it's what's happening with our lives at home, just a variety of topics, talking with just everyday folks, my friends, acquaintances, people that I know. I know that there are a lot of shows out there where you talk to celebrities. Well, you know what? My friends and family, my acquaintances, they're my celebrities. And so joining me today are two really good friends of mine. So I can't find a better way to kick this off than Yesenia Esdailes and Marisol Munoz, two friends of mine. We've known each other for quite a while. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you for including us.
Yes, absolutely.
I am so excited. And so, as all of you know, I work as a reporter, and if you follow me, if you're a friend of mine or a family, you pretty much know a bit about myself. You know that I love to dance, I love to sing, I'm close to my parents, my family. Friends mean a great deal to me, but I want you to get to know these two lovely ladies a little bit as well. Yesenia, would you like to share a little bit?
Sure. My name is Yesenia Esdailes. I work in the pharmaceutical industry. I have for about 10 years now. I have an almost 20-year-old son who I will inevitably mention him many times because he is the love of my life. I am one of 5 kids, so there are a lot of us. We have our own little quarantine going because there's so many of us when we get together. Marisol and I have known each other since we were 8. So that's a long time. We won't say the number of years. And then you and I have known each other since we were in high school. So again, we won't say the number. We won't say the numbers, just since high school. So that's a little bit about me.
Marisol?
Hi, my name is Marisol Munoz, and I work in the dental field for many, many years now. I am a mom of 1, which 1 seems a little, but it's just fine by me. He's also the love of my life. And yes, Jesse and I and Mabel have known each other for quite some time. I met Mabel through Jesse, and we've become good friends in turn. And yeah, that sums me up pretty much.
Well, there's a lot more to it, but we'll see what might come out during the course of Kicking It with Mabel. So the girls and I, we discussed, what would be our first topic. And what's very obvious is we've all been experiencing a pandemic, quarantine, and we found that we all had different experiences. Many of them were very positive, and we wanted to keep it on a positive note. I want to share with all of you, you may see a cocktail here and there. If you've seen my other interviews, when I'm interviewing senators, other folks that are more news related, I don't have a cocktail. However, my friend suggested it, and I thought, you know what? Why not? So yes, I feel like we're, who is it? Hoda and Kathy Lee, I believe.
Yeah.
To do the drinks, so now we're doing drinks. So anyone
I like it.
on Kicking It with Mabel, we'll be doing it over cocktails. So today's topic is the pandemic, and how did we get through the quarantine? What were our experiences? What did we feel? Jesse, I know that you had a lot of strong opinions about it, and having a large family. And so share with me, what was it like for you? Do you feel that, a lot of people have been saying that they've experienced new things, that they took on new hobbies, that they have more of an appreciation for things. So what was this period like for you?
Yeah, I'll break it up into 2 different areas of my life. I mean, I'll first talk about my professional life. Being, as you can imagine, working in the pharmaceutical industry means that I had more work than ever. So I found myself working longer hours from home. There wasn't a stop and start time. There wasn't an end time. I felt like it was 7 o'clock at night and I was still working. So I didn't quite have that work-life balance that I wanted to have. So that was a little bit difficult where, I also knew that I was very fortunate to still have my job because so many people weren't able to, didn't have the kind of job that afforded you being able to work from home. So I was very appreciative of that. But it was a lot. I mean, there were weeks that I probably worked 70 hours a week, which was a little insane, including Saturdays. But the other positive thing that I will say that came of this is obviously, so my son is almost 20 years old. He came home from college at the start of the pandemic. He was home on spring break and stayed here, never went back. He's still here. He's upstairs sleeping. He's almost 20. That's what they do. Spending this time with him has been unbelievably positive. We've cooked together. We've had dinner together every night that he's been home. He also goes back and forth to his father's house, so obviously he's not with me every single day. But being able to have dinner with my son when he's here, and when he was and having lunch with him, he texted me, "Hey mom, do you have a meeting right now? Do you want to have lunch?" That is something that I'm never going to have again. It's such an appreciation that I have for it, that something positive came from this pandemic. And I've heard that from a lot of families where, as before, our lives are going in so many different directions. Most people didn't even have dinner together. Like, that didn't even happen. And now we're like, well, you don't have a choice. You don't have anywhere to go. And so as a result, you're able to enjoy that time with your family. You mentioned my large family, which I do have a very large family. That's the part I missed the most, is we are always with each other, birthdays, holidays, things like that. And not being with them in person was difficult. The last time we were all together was for my brother's birthday, which was the weekend that my son came home from college, which was perfect. It was like, oh, he came home for my birthday. That's like, so he'll always be home for my brother's birthday because that's spring break. So that was great. I'm glad that we had that in March, but we're usually together. I had celebrated a birthday during the pandemic, and we did a virtual Zoom party, which was wonderful, but it wasn't normal. And so that part was a little bit challenging. But you know what? I think that we're stronger for it. Because we didn't stop communicating with each other. It's just a different way of communicating.
Marisol, I know that your son is much younger, not the 20-year-old, but I remember you and I had some conversations and you were sharing with me the homework. And I heard so many parents talk about the homework. So it was like, not only did they have homework, but you had homework. What was that like? And what was your experience, with Jaden? And, did that change a little bit, your dynamic with your family, with your friends?
Well, in my case, it was a little different than Jesse. Yes, we both have a child. We both were home, but my son is 12, and it was hard. The Zoom meetings of school, it took a toll. Me, I work in the dental field, so there was no way we could continue seeing patients or treating patients at all. And so I was unemployed for 4 months, and that was scary. That's the first time I've been unemployed since I've ever started working. And I didn't know how I was going to take it at the beginning. I was so worried. I think I mentioned it, I think, to both of you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I don't even know what to feel. But schooling for Jaden, it was an experience for me, for him. We both had to learn it. It was challenging. There were nights that he didn't finish in the beginning until 10. One day he had a project. We didn't finish it until midnight. We had to get, the hang of doing the Zooms. I've never had to do it, so I had to learn that as well. And it was hard at the beginning. It was very hard, frustrating. We argued a lot until we got the hang of it. And then when we got the hang of it, it got a little easier. But it was tough. It wasn't something that it was easy, but it's a learning experience, and I'm happy for it, because I just had mentioned that I've learned a couple of things that I didn't know. So it was a learning experience for me. I felt like if I was back in school, because I was doing some stuff with him, and it was good. I mean, like Jesse said, it gave us time together, which most of us really don't have.
Yeah.
We come home from work, we cook, we get everything ready for the next day. Everything is done, go to sleep, and do the routine over and over. So this quarantine, yeah, it it was hard, very hard, I think, for many of us, for all of us for that matter. But at the same time, it had its positives and negatives. Positive, yes, time with family, cooking together, like Jesse said, talking more. I mean,
Mhm.
we don't, if you take notice, we don't talk as much as we think that we do. While we're working, while we're have kids have sports schedules to be met, we only talk about the things that we have to do most of the time. We don't talk about us. We don't talk about goals. We don't talk about that, not that often. I'm not saying that we don't have these conversations, but not often enough, because
Mhm.
we all lead busy lives. So yeah, it gave us a lot of positives and a lot of negatives as well. Negative, my mom, she's home alone. My dad passed, and now she's home alone, and it was hard for me not to go to her. So I ended up going to my mom like 3 times. We had to check up on her. I had to check up on her. And so quarantine didn't stop me from doing that. Um, but it was, that in itself was challenging for me too. I'm like, well,
Mhm.
I know we have to quarantine, but how do I not go see her? It's impossible. But if
Yeah.
something happens, she can tell me all day long that she was fine, fine. But you need that reassurance. You had to go look for yourself to see if, are you really fine? Do you really need something or anything for that matter? And so I had my positives and my negatives. Um, but I think everybody did during this time.
Yeah, for my birthday, I went to go see my parents, but I stayed in my car and they were on the porch. I physically needed to see them. Yes, I knew that we were going to have the Zoom party, but on the day of my birth, on the anniversary of my birth, I needed to physically see my parents. I couldn't touch them. We were nowhere near each other, but at least I got to see them. And at that point, I hadn't seen them in a month. That doesn't happen. I live only 30 minutes from my parents. I don't go a month without seeing my parents. And so for me, that was something. And that's when I started saying, you know what, I could at least see them on the porch, me in my car. We're certainly being socially distant. And then slowly, my parents have they're not together, but they have big backyards. And so, then you slowly go, well, hey, now it's warmer. We can be in the backyard. And that has meant everything. I haven't hugged my parents since, before the pandemic started. That's hard. Going up to my mom and not hugging her is very difficult. But at least I get to see her. She's older, obviously, so I'm not going to take that risk with her. But at least I can see her now.
You guys brought up some good points. Marisol, you said, in our daily lives, we don't talk about our goals, and, we just kind of talk about what we need to talk about. And I would say I had the good fortune that I'm with my parents. So I'm quarantined with my mom and dad. But you're right. I'm usually thinking about, what do I need to do? What's on my to-do list? And I still had that because I didn't want them to go out. So I still had to go to the supermarket. I still went to the pharmacy. So I was still going out, but concerned every time I went out that, I need to be very careful because I need to come back to the house. But something that we did that I would have never thought would have happened. And my dad and I used to do this when I was a kid. We were doing puzzles. So we completed, I believe, about 10 puzzles. That what I plan to do is buy a portfolio, almost like a photography portfolio, and put all the puzzles in. But that was like our activity of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Were the puzzles. And at first I don't know, I had the idea and I thought, I don't know how this is going to go over. And little did I know that we would find it so entertaining. So it was lovely to, even though I'm with them all the time, I have to say I'm working on being more present. So physically I'm present, but mentally I'm usually on like several other projects. So I have to say that was one of the loveliest moments, was that engaging in puzzles with my mom and dad. I have one, there were a couple of times I found things on TV. I'm not gonna lie, I love cartoons. The Flintstones. So 6 p.m. on channel 33, if you have Optimum, it's the Flintstones. So we would get excited and my mom or I would say, oh my God, it's almost 6, like 33. And I can't tell you what joy it brought me to sit on the couch and watch the Flintstones with my parents. So it was these little things that I would not have done on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And it's so unusual. And this one I haven't quite figured out, but my creative juices have been elevated, where I'm having like all these ideas of things that I want to do. And then I was thinking, because I interview people, I thought that, so my thought process was always, wait, they've got to be home because they can't go out. And that's what I was doing. I got an interview with Carlos Gomez from the Baker and the Beauty, who, folks, if you love the show, they're trying to keep it on or get it to another network.
Yes.
But I remembered that I thought that I was connected with him on Facebook because I'd worked in California and I'd done some red carpet events. And I thought, you know what, let me check. And I did. And sure enough, we were connected. And I thought, you know what, he's got to be home. This was like in the middle, like pure pandemic, no one's going out. And so I thought, why not? So I sent him a message and he responded within like 2 minutes. I'm like, this is great. So then I started reaching out to more folks. I'm like, everybody's got to be home. And I was pleasantly surprised that I was getting responses that typically I simply wouldn't. So I think I was sharing with you, professionally, this pandemic worked for me. Obviously, personally, mentally,
yeah,
did it. But professionally, I was having a ball.
I think it worked in many ways for everybody, for something. For
yes,
something.
I agree.
You had the Flintstones, but me, you know what I did? I took out all the photos that I printed and I've never organized them. And so I organized quite a few. I have a stack like this big, quite a few. And in turn, I kept like, oh, Jada, look, this was when you were a baby. Oh, look, you went on a cruise and you didn't even know it. We went to oh, look, when you were a baby, we went to Disney and you got on your first Dumbo ride at this age and everything. So that was so much fun at the time. And now I got to get them into an album, but I organized everything like into the year, to the date. It was so I had fun with that, looking at like 2,000 pictures.
Yeah, no, for me, so you talk about shows, right? So Jared was the one that got me into Game of Thrones when he was like, Mom, you have to watch it. He came home from college and had binge watched it with his friends. I'm like, no, come on. My boyfriend had tried to get me to watch it. I'm like, no, I don't. And then, of course, I ended up loving it. So then he comes home now. He's like, Mom, Shark Tank. So we binge watched Shark Tank. And now, so the Avatar is a cartoon that's from when he was little that we used to watch it. So now Netflix has all of the episodes. Guess what we've been doing? We've been binge watching Avatar. So, and we like love it. And then he'll be like, another episode will be like 10 o'clock. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we just are having that fun. And to Marisol's point, yeah, it's different when your child is a little bit older. You have to find different things to kind of engage with them. And so we've played cards and we've had the most amazing conversations that we wouldn't have had because he wouldn't have been here. He would have been at school. And I mean, obviously his learning was a little bit different because I can't help him. So my son his major is interdisciplinary physics with a bio concentration, and he's in a math minor, but he thinks he's going to do a double major and make math a major, which is great. It's great, but I clearly could not help him with anything when it came to school. It's like the only thing I could do is like, Mom, the Wi-Fi's down. That's about it. Connect to the mic. Connect to my hotspot, sweetie. That's all I could do. But we had our system, and that, again, that's invaluable. And you talk about the creative juices and doing things. I moved here. I've lived here almost a year. July 1st is when I signed the lease, signed my mortgage, and closed on my house. And so I finished unpacking all the boxes that I could unpack. I still have more boxes to unpack, but I don't have anywhere to put the stuff. So everything that I could unpack, it's unpacked. So it's great. So that was good. I cleaned my house like a crazy person. In the beginning, especially, you were taking Clorox and wiping every door and wiping every doorknob and the toilet handle and oh my goodness, the light fixtures. And then you were like, all right, Yesenia, calm down. Like, you're gonna wipe the finish off of this if you can't do it. But yeah, so I'd be like, look, okay, well, I gotta clean my house. Here we go. I'd be like, okay, I'll do one floor one day and one floor the other day. It'll keep me entertained. What else am I gonna do? So yeah, I mean, it's to Marisol's point, it's been a blessing, I think, more than any. Thankfully, I haven't lost anyone close. I do know people who have lost people due to this. I personally haven't experienced that, so I think that would obviously skew my thought process on this. But the time that I have with my son and with other people in my life, that's invaluable. That's not something I'm ever going to have again, because life will get back to the crazy normal that we had, right? We're going to be running around and our kids are going to be in this, and my son's going to go off to college in August. So I, again, won't see him for 4 months. So I'm going to take stock of this time and just really value it.
You know, you said, I had a thought this morning, and it was unusual, but I'm still absorbing it, and I'll probably be thinking about it throughout the weekend. But this thought that I'm a little sad that things are going back to normal. Let me explain. So clearly this past week, I almost was back to a normal routine, and, you know, took my mom to 2 appointments, took my dad to an appointment, and yeah, it was a really busy week, and with work it was busy, and I thought, wow, like, we're back to normal. And as I was driving around running errands, I mean, people were wearing masks, but like everything seemed like the streets were full of people, and yeah, I got a little sad because I thought, you know, trying to reach out to people isn't going to be as simple as it was before. You know, I had a friend of mine that sent me a text about 2 weeks ago, and she said, you know, do you have a few minutes to talk, because I go back to work next week and I won't have time. Maybe that was the first inkling that would happen. But yeah, I don't know. It occurred to me this morning that I was like, wow, like, things really are they're clearly not back to normal, but people are starting to develop a routine. And I thought, you know, will we be doing those puzzles, and will certain things still occur? But as I'm sharing with you, I'm realizing, well, that's up to me. You know, it's up to me, and it's up to the people that I'm around, that if we want to continue that continuity, there's no reason why it can. So, you know, I think that's a lesson in and of itself, that, you know, it's up to us what we do, and those beautiful things that we got to do, like the photo albums and, you know, those conversations with Jared. There's no reason why it can't continue, except that we're just going to have to fit it in somehow. I know a conversation we had preparing for this is, I said to you ladies that I was concerned. I hope people don't forget this. I hope people don't forget what we experienced. And so what I've been doing is taking photographs. And when it occurs to me, when I'm in the supermarket, or even when I'm in the car, if I'm at a traffic light, and pictures of people, you know, wearing
with masks. And that's a good idea.
Because yeah, I don't want to forget this, because this may be that poignant moment from our generation. I mean, we have 9/11 as well, but even after 9/11, and I know I shared this with you, I felt like this unity for about a year, and then I don't want to say wore off, but we went back to our regular lives. And I don't want to say minimize it or say that we forgot, because I still, you know, if I'm near the World Trade Center, or, you know, it's still, it brings all these feelings, or if I think about that day. But generally speaking, I don't know that we go around thinking about that day. So when I think about this, a few months from now, or whenever there's a vaccine, and once we're back to normal and there aren't masks, will we forget this period in time? What are your thoughts?
I think that the one difference that I would say is that 9/11 didn't impact the entire world. I don't know anyone that this didn't impact. Obviously, 9/11 for us was closer because we're right here. You know, New York is right there. We're used to going into the city. It literally was in our backyard. This pandemic affected every country, everything. And so I think that that's the difference that I see, is that here in the United States, we were affected, but in Europe, they were affected. In Dominican Republic, they were affected. In Colombia, they were affected. In China, they were affected. It's literally, oh, it was literally a worldwide pandemic. Whereas 9/11, other countries were like, oh, you know, feel bad for you, US, that was really bad, but it didn't affect them.
I mean, I don't think we'll forget it. I mean, this happened to us, and yes, we will talk about it as we get older. But it also happens to our kids, and our kids will talk about, when I was 12, for instance, this happened in our world, and I got to experience staying home and having all these things going through that I quite did not understand because yes, he understands what's going on, but I think as he gets older and he starts realizing more and more, he's really going to know, wow, this was something bigger that I thought was small because I just had to stay home, like for my son, and he will talk about it. I don't think that nobody will ever forget it because, yes, this happened worldwide. Everybody went through it. Everyone went through it, and so it goes down in our history. And we will talk about it, our kids will talk about it, and their kids will talk about it because we both, their grandparents, their children, we will talk about it and say, hey, this happened to us. And it was crazy, and at the same time, we lost a lot of lives, and at the same time, we had good moments and bad moments to converse about.
Yeah, I agree.
And what do you ladies think will be the new normal? Because, I've heard that phrase said quite a bit. There is a new normal. I don't know that we go back. It's going to change every industry. It's changed the way we feel about our families. It's broken up relationships. I was so sad to hear Kelly Clarkson's getting divorced.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
I mean, I'm sorry for her. But I just thought, wow, I guess this made or break relationships.
Yeah, well, she said it was because of the pandemic. Like, oh, because stand this guy.
It goes back to what I'm saying. Do we really know who we are with? Because we're so busy. We're so busy all the time that we don't have that time. We can have an occasional dinner date. We can have, that's only one night, but being with somebody 24/7 for 3 months, that's the challenge. I mean, if you can get through that, then it is.
Yeah.
You start discovering who you are, who your partner is, and seeing all these things that you probably most likely never would have thought. Really?
Yeah.
That person is like that. So you really know. We are so busy in our lives that we think we know, but we have no idea until we're faced to being in a room together for a period of time.
Yeah, and for me, in terms of the relationship, I don't live with my boyfriend, as you guys know, but his college-age son came home, and my college-age son came home, so it was like, okay, how do we make this work? And we made it work. I mean, and I told him, I said, listen, we're either gonna break up after this, or we're gonna come out stronger from this. And as we now approach a little normalcy, it's like we're stronger, which is great. I mean, it's what I wanted, right? I didn't want to break up, but it has helped us, even though we don't live together, it has helped us to get to know each other on a much deeper level, which is nice. I mean, it's great. I feel like we've come out the other side, so to speak. And that new normal, I don't know.
You said a deeper level. In what manner?
So you talk a lot, right? Because he's got 2 older boys and I've got 1 older child, and so we would just do a lot of going out to dinner. Hey, you want to meet? Sure. After work, excellent. Let's meet there. Well, guess what? That's not the case. Oh, hey, you're coming over. All right, this is what I'm making for dinner. So there was no going out. I shared with you before we started, last night was the first time that we went out to an outdoor dining in 4 months. It was awesome. He was like, oh, we have a date night. I said, I know, it's great. Like, it was giddy. We felt happy. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so, yeah, I don't enjoy cooking. Anybody that knows me knows that, but I've had to learn how to do all this stuff. And I did. And he was like, oh my God, babe, that was so good. I was like, I know how to do that. I didn't. And so I didn't know how to do it. And so it's been fantastic because I mean, we've sat and talked for like 4 hours. Just talk. That's great. There was no time. We go to dinner at 7. You get home at 9. To Marisol's point, you had to do he had to go to work and I had to go to work. All right, well, I'm going to bed because I'm tired. So now we both work. We're both working, but we both, he can be on one floor and I can be on another floor. We've done that where, I've had my conference calls and he's had his and all of that fun stuff. But we don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's not needed. So, okay, well, we can stay up until midnight. That's not a problem. That's okay. And so we talk. And on a Saturday, it'd be like, okay, I have to run this errand. I have to go do this. I'm gonna get a minute. And I'm like, okay, I'll meet you like at 5 o'clock because I have all these things to do. Well, now it's like, oh, no, I don't have any of that to do, right? And so now when we see each other on like a weekend, we see each other for the whole day and we actually spend time with each other. And so that's why it's like, oh, I do like you. I remember why I started dating you. Or, the converse could have been true, been like, oh, yeah, I think this is not work. But luckily it did not happen that way. But yeah, that's why I feel like, to Marisol's point, yeah, you live with somebody, boy, I thought I didn't like you before, but woo, I really like you now. It could happen, is what I'm saying. It didn't happen here.
Any surprises for you, Marisol?
Not really. Not really. My partner and I, I said it from the beginning. I think I mentioned it not so long ago. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to be quarantined together. This is the most time we're ever going to spend together. I mean, don't do nothing crazy because I don't know how I might. I said it very serious because a little part of me was scared. Even, it wasn't even in relationships, even with your son, Jaden's off to school for 8 hours. I'm off to work for 8 hours. He has sports sometimes. I had to rush to get him here. By the time he got home, listen, eat something, go to sleep, and continue. So now, get out of that room. Let's talk. Let's do something. And he's in that age where, oh, Mom, I don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing. And I'm like, I don't see you. No, we got to see each other. So it was really no surprises. My kid and I, we spent a lot of time together. And we snuggled a little bit more, and it was regular for us, just more time together. And my partner and I, well, we found the show that we actually like. He actually likes Baker and the Beauty.
Oh, there you go.
I wanted to see the show leave because we both actually like it. He's like, all right, I'll give it a try. And then we like that it's Latino. We liked that they have Latino music going on, and it's a part of us, and that there's a show actually about how we are. And so we both like the show. We don't want to see it. So that would be our new thing. Oh, it's coming on. Let's sit down and watch it. So it wasn't, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it's challenging, but you either make it work or you just don't.
Yeah. It's like, where are you going to go? I mean, you kind of have to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that you said, where would you go? There were times that I did, I just wasn't in a good mood or I was irritable. And that was my thought. I was like, where do I go? I remember once going to the bathroom because I just didn't know where to hide. And it wasn't I was trying to hide, but I just wanted to be by myself and collect my thoughts. And I just wasn't in a good mood. So I sometimes would hide. I literally would hide. And then as things started letting up, and this was fairly recent, I started going for walks. So time by myself or taking out the garbage. Oh my gosh, that became so exciting to me. I was like, yes. So if I saw my mom or usually sometimes my dad, I was like, no, leave the garbage. And he'd look at me. I was like, no, I'll take out the garbage. Because little did they know that I would take out the garbage and then I would go for an hour walk. And then I'd come back and they'd say, they would say to me,
like, where were you?
And I said, oh, I took out the garbage. An hour later, I'm like, well, I went for a little walk. But taking out the garbage became so exciting to me.
Well, taking a walk, that's one thing that I've done. Take walks, be like, all right, I live in a nice complex, whatever. So it's like, okay, let me just take a walk and just, yeah.
I hid out in the laundry room. The laundry room is right below my apartment. And so I would wait till later where there were actually nobody there. And I would go and put my clothes to wash and dry, and I would take my phone and watch Netflix on myself, or take
The
time
laundry
to talk Netflix in the laundry room. There was literally, I waited until late, and literally no one was doing laundry at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. And because I sometimes slept all day, of course I wasn't sleepy at night. So I did laundry like at 10 p.m. And I would stay down there. Nobody was there. Do my laundry, take my phone, either talk to friends or watch Netflix. Netflix was
That's
my best
funny.
friend.
You gotta do something. Yeah. Yeah, I would sit a lot on my little porch. Sometimes it'd be like, till like 8 o'clock at night. I'd be like, oh, okay, it's getting dark now. I should probably go inside.
Oh, ladies, I can't tell you how grateful I am that you took this time to talk to me. Now I know that the laundry room is your secret spot. Now everyone's gonna know that, yes, I love the Flintstones.
Right, and I love Avatar.
Little,
Not the movie, just the cartoon, by the way. Not the James Cameron version, yes. The other one, no.
ladies, thank you for kicking it with Mabel. I say we toast to the first episode. We all went with like the same choice. Oh, Jessie with her name. Not surprising.
Listen, you guys are lucky it's not bedazzled or something like with bling. You know how I like my sequins. Oh, I do have a mask that has a lot of sequins, of course. Why are you surprised? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you surprised?
That's true. They probably look like your sandals.
Yeah,
Dazzled sandals.
pretty much, yeah.
Ladies, cheers.
Cheers.
And to the beginning of the next half of 2020, let's see what it brings.
Agreed. Hopefully it's better than the first half.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's not have too much of this on a daily basis, though.
Hey, Mabel, it was great kicking it with you.
It was great. Yeah, I like that.